Hello and welcome back to Continental Club, where we discuss the hottest topics in European football. You found us a little bit fragile this Friday morning because we had team bonding night out last night.
Did.
On the karaoke. I was doing London Bridge by Fergie.
Yeah, it was...
Zach, what were you doing again?
Me and Sonny did Ariana Grande in the Weeknd's Love Me Harder.
Yeah,
Didn't know the lyrics.
That was excellent. And
That was pretty good.
McCubbs, what were you and Sam on?
There was some
me and Sam on Let
sensational
Me
songs.
Love You by Mario, and I heard from some corners that was the best of the night.
It was very...
I heard.
It was
Arguably
incredible.
the last one, though. But when there was no music behind it and we were just singing, we were singing a cappella.
Oh, yeah,
That was so
that was
spontaneous.
beautiful.
Oh, legendary. Anyway, check out all our Instagrams to find the best bits of the night. Anyway, let's go straight into Robert Lewandowski, because Chris CU Series of Numbers has said, is Lewandowski the best striker in the world right now? But before we get stuck into that, and I promise we won't talk about karaoke anymore, please remember to subscribe to Eurofootball Daily and hit that notification bell to never miss a video. But we've got to talk about Lewandowski, because the 31-year-old is arguably in the form of his career. 14 goals in 9 League and Champions League games this season. It's prompted a debate about whether he's the best out-and-out 9 in the world right now. Actually, no one has scored more goals post-World Cup 2014, not excluding Messi and Ronaldo. So he's third on the list in that time. Phenomenal player. McCubbs, is he just getting better and better with age, or is it just, what have you made of him this
I don't know,
year?
he's just been, he's always been a pretty unbelievable striker, hasn't he? Like, not even taking into account the fact he's, hit 40 plus goals in all comps over the last 3 seasons. Obviously, like you're saying, 14 goals in 9 appearances this season. And I hadn't actually watched him properly in quite a while. I can't claim to watch Bayern on a week-by-week basis. I hadn't seen him that much of the Bundesliga this term, aside from kind of highlights every weekend. And but his performance against Spurs was just unreal. He obviously a complete striker, but that first goal which he took on the turn on the edge of the box, when that went in, it was I just kind of thought, I can't really think of another striker who can do that so easily.
With such ease, yeah.
Aside from maybe Messi, and I don't know, Aguero's probably capable of that as well. You've seen him do that a few times, but it was such a, I thought it was just such an underrated strike. And I don't know, I think he is the best in the world right now.
Yeah.
And I think also there's a conversation as well to be had to say, and especially considering his record over the last 5 years as well, he is I'd maybe put him in my top 10 strikers of all time.
Really?
I would he's getting to that level,
Yeah.
and it's easy to, I think it's easy to get lost in this because we're going to touch on other strikers as well. But I think the last kind of 5-6 years, we're going through a bit of a golden age for strikers, for out and out goal scorers. Players are scoring at a rate that we weren't seeing in the previous decade. Obviously Messi and Ronaldo bumped that up, and in some ways maybe that's forced others to up their game as well. Maybe it's just the way that football's played these days, that we are more reliant on just ridiculous strikers. I guess I don't know, maybe 20 years ago you had someone like Ronaldo Nazario, but obviously injuries kind of scuppered his career. But then obviously the last 10 years you've had people like Aguero, Suarez as well. But I'm just kind of babbling on.
Well,
I'm just waffling.
I know what you mean. When you talk about Lewandowski, it's difficult not to sort of babble on, just be enthralled of his abilities. He can literally do everything. He's a phenomenal all-round striker, and compared to some of the others that we've got on this list, he's so good in the air, his finishing's fantastic. Not just that first goal against Spurs, but that second cushioned volley. I don't think many others would be able to execute that with such ease. He scored over 28 goals in all competitions in 7 of his last 8 years, so it's not just the last 4 or 5. 8 years, and at Dortmund before that. The only thing missing off his CV is a Champions League, and Bayern probably have their best chance for a while this year. And he gets criticism for not turning up in the Champions League, but he's actually 5th on the all-time list. Goes Ronaldo, Messi, Raul, Benzema, then Lewandowski. So full credit to him, and if he can do it this year, there's no one I'd be more delighted for. Pep Guardiola said he was the most professional player he's ever worked with.
Really?
When he was at Bayern.
Looks
after himself incredibly well.
There wasn't as well though when Carlo Ancelotti was there. Him and Carlo didn't get on.
They did have a bit of a clash.
Well.
I think Carlo Ancelotti fell out with quite a few players by the end of it though. But Zach, we need to talk about some other candidates.
We do.
As McCubbin mentioned, Aguero we've had in the Premier League, we've had Kane in the Premier League, and then further afield, Suarez, etc. Where do you stand on the rest
I think Aguero's definitely up there. I think the issue with Aguero is the same kind of thing that I guess Lewandowski has, is that he's not won the Champions League, right? Because he's basically done everything else. He's been one of the best, if not the best striker in the Premier League for the past 6-7 years now. From when and he's still kept it, although maybe he's lost. Like when he first joined, he was very, very quick, and now he has started to lose that, and he's essentially moved into more of a creative player as well, and his finishing is ridiculous. I mean, it's always been ridiculous as well, and I think it speaks volumes that like they've got Gabby Jesus, who can't get game time, with Aguero, who's now 30 or 31, however old.
Well, yeah, I think Guardiola like improved him as a player as well.
Yeah, indeed.
Which is pretty unreal for a guy at his age who initially seemed kind of stubborn to Guardiola's methods as well.
Well, yeah, I remember when Guardiola first took over, there was rumours over like Aguero's going to leave, he's not getting on. But I mean, it helps for Aguero though that he's playing in a team with like Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva. But like at the end of the day, you still need to have the attacking movement of an elite striker, and that is what Aguero has, as we've seen over his time. I mean, Aubameyang is also ridiculous. I think the weird thing about Aubameyang is we've always said the second he loses his pace, he's going to be like he'll still be okay because he's a great finisher, but he's not going to be anywhere near as good as what he is now. But still, he's absolutely smashing it. He's still quick as lightning. I think for him as well, he's actually had a bit of a disservice being at Arsenal because he's been like this elite striker playing in a team which actually hasn't been that great. And imagine if he was playing for someone like City or Liverpool or any of those kind of teams.
He'd be lethal at Liverpool.
Indeed, it's actually frightening to think of. I think he would maybe, if he was say at a top level, that is in one of the top 5 clubs in the world, Aubameyang would be considered probably higher than he is now. But because he's only really played for lower end clubs like St Etienne, Borussia Dortmund, and Lille, Arsenal, AC Milan, and during times when they weren't at their top. I mean, when he was at Dortmund, they were actually pretty good, to be fair. But he
was still like replacing Lewandowski.
Exactly.
Yeah. He was never going to be able to be better than him, really.
Indeed, exactly. So he's not really had the opportunity to kind of be in this world class, or not in a world class team.
Surprised more people didn't go for him actually when he was available. Actually,
well, this is what's
50 million. What was it? 59 million, something like that.
Yeah.
It looks like an absolute steal now for the returns you're getting. I mean, obviously he's quite old.
I mean, there were people like questioning his like attitude sometimes because like he loved his flashy cards and all that kind of stuff. But he's absolutely smashing. He's proved his doubters wrong. As for other ones, maybe not so much now, but maybe say 2-3 years ago, Luis Suarez was the best in the world.
Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I think in 16-17 he scored over 40 goals. 40 league goals, that was, I think. 40 goals in 35 league games. Absolutely remarkable. Has dropped off. I think it then went to something like 29, and last year it was something like 20 or 21. But it's still a pretty good return for a 32-year-old.
And he's still like this season has like pulled Barcelona out of some sticky situations, like Inter Milan, 2 fantastic goals.
Indeed. There was actually ridiculous goals. But I think it reiterates your point, Mikey, of that, like, because we've had strikers, and like himself, absolutely banging like 40 in, like 20 plus is a good return for a striker. Like, it's a solid return.
Yeah.
But because like other ones are doing so much better, it makes it like, oh, what's he doing?
And I think it is because as well that we've had, like, not only have we had like strikers like performing ridiculously, we have had those like 4-5 teams in Europe who have just been relentless this decade as well. Like obviously Bayern, Barcelona, Real, I guess PSG, and you could put Man City and Liverpool. Well, Man City especially in there. So these are strikers who've been playing in systems which have been kind of made for them as well. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's where Aubameyang loses out a bit, like you were saying, because it's just he hasn't really played in title-winning teams, hasn't really played in teams that have been challenging for trophies as much.
Yeah,
but
you can't sort of put that at Suarez at all. I think he's been just a phenomenal signing for Barcelona. It will go down in Barcelona history as one of their best ever, despite costing over 70
million. I mean, isn't he already their third top scorer of all time?
Something
I think
ridiculous like that.
And he's only been there like 5 years. He's been there half the time of Messi.
And I think his diminishing returns on goals has to be slightly edged with the fact that the players around him haven't adapted so well to Barcelona as well, like Ousmane Dembele, Coutinho, obviously, not hit the ground running in the same way that the Neymar, Messi, Suarez relationship. It was just like...
That was a ridiculous relationship.
It was just incredible. They were just reading each other so fluently, and it just came so easy to them. Whereas Suarez's diminishing returns slightly goes back to his body slightly declining. Yeah. I don't think he probably has the express pace that he used to, and he definitely looks a bit rounder than he used to as well. And I think that's coming, not necessarily the weight, but the pace is definitely affected him in the Champions League. Whereas before this year, before his 2 goals against Inter Milan, he'd only scored 2 group stage goals in 2 years, which was a pretty damning statistic in about 20 appearances. But seems to have come back from that calf injury earlier in the season, hit that ground running, scored 2 fantastic goals against Valencia as well, I seem to remember as well.
It'll be interesting to see who Barca get to replace him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it won't. You maybe think that Griezmann will just go centrally, but...
Yeah, but even Griezmann's like, what, 28, 29? So
Exactly.
that's not a long-term replacement.
Yeah.
I think the only other striker that we can probably mention is Harry Kane.
Yeah.
But I think Harry Kane is actually worrying me. This season, he's worrying me. Like, because I feel like we might have to consider Harry Kane injury prone because every year there's another injury that takes him out for a couple of months. And then he gets rushed back. And then we've now finally seen the past 3 years where he's been rushed back catch up to him. And he's just not the same kind of player as he was. He's still a very good striker.
Yeah.
That is the point.
But like, I mean, there was a point where you kind of had Harry Kane and Lewandowski. There was a point like last year where, like, if you asked almost any football fan who would you rather have in your team, Kane or Lewandowski, they'd be like, Kane. Like, and now it's like, obviously you take Lewandowski in your team, and you compare like Kane's like injury record, right? Like the last few years, it hasn't been great, and yet being rushed back a lot, and it's so obvious when he's unfit. As determined as he is, fair play, like he wants to play every game, but like it shows and it does, it has like hindered team performances, especially for Spurs in the past.
They don't also have an alternative as well, so that's quite worrying.
Yes, for sure.
They can't even give them a break.
Difficulty with that, and they might not even be able to, if they needed to sell him, they might not be able to. Although that's probably not something that would be being thought about anytime soon. But Lewandowski's injury record is so good.
Yeah.
Like he's basically just not been injured for the last 8 years.
He is like
unbelievable,
an absolute elite athlete.
And I think that obviously counts for a lot. Like Kane's scoring record may be badly affected by injuries if they continue to hinder him in the way that they have done over the last 2 years.
Well, that's always the thing that kind of edges the debate over who's the better player or striker per se, because like Aubameyang hasn't been injured, he's absolutely killed it, whereas Suarez has had some injuries. We've also seen
Aguero's been injured.
There was a period where Aguero just seemed to be getting constantly 3 months out, 4 months out. But thankfully he's looking okay at the moment. But Harry Kane just, I don't really see, like, they literally need to give him a break.
I think it's 3 in 15 this year in all competitions, which is pretty damning. I think it's 1 in 5, 1 goal and 2 assists in 5 Premier League games.
Ruining life, yeah.
But he's playing in a struggling side at the moment, and I think he's trying almost too hard and dropping a lot deeper. I know lots of Spurs fans get very angry when we criticise Harry Kane, but there's no mistaking that he's not getting as many chances as he used to. He's trying to do too much, I think, at the moment. And he's played virtually non-stop for close to over 2 years now, with the World Cup as well. So it's been a long old stint for him. But we probably need to talk about the sort of new generation, because Aubameyang, Suarez, Aguero, Lewandowski, all wrong side of 30, still going really strongly. But there's some fantastic young players coming through. Obviously, Mbappe, do we count him as out and nine at the moment? Probably not, but I think he probably will go there.
Yeah, he'll be.
And his goal scoring record is
scored over 40 goals last year in all competitions.
He's going to be stupid. Like if he plays number 9 for like Real Madrid in 2 years.
Yeah, and 21 the year before that. I mean, where do you guys stand on the new generation? Obviously, Mbappe looks like the front runner, but who out of Gabi Jesus, maybe Timo Werner? Lautaro Martinez could be possibly in there with a shout. It's potentially one.
Lautaro Martinez has been really
Sorry?
Haaland for Salzburg?
Yeah.
Haaland,
yeah.
Haaland looks unreal, to be fair. I mean, I'd like to see what he does like in a bigger league than the Austrian league, but he has looked like really good from what we've seen so far. Oh, it's really tough. I've always really liked Gabi Jesus. I think he's excellent. Just unreal in the box.
Yeah.
But he now just needs that full season, right, of actually playing football.
Phenomenal fit.
Yeah, I actually loved it most when him and Aguero were starting 2 up top.
Yeah.
I think at the start of that 100-point season, so I guess Pep's second season as City boss, when they were starting up top together, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like that was like some of the best football I've seen from City, and Jesus is just
The one worry I think you have for him is he has had a couple of injuries already, which is never great to see as a young player with reoccurring injuries. One that as well took him out for a long time. I think was it this season or last season? But that's never great. But he does look fantastic. But as I said, I think he just needs game time. And I think if he's not the starting striker next year, like if I was him, I'd be thinking about moving on.
Also,
like,
Zach, we can't talk about young strikers and not mention a certain Tammy Abraham.
We
Not necessarily
can't.
in this bracket,
Yeah.
but what a
Yes.
start.
Yeah, Tammy Abraham has like literally taken the ball by the horns and absolutely taken
He's riding
the
the
chance.
ball.
He's riding the ball and he's not getting off. He's not getting off.
He is
anytime
the
soon.
damn ball.
It's really nice to see, I guess, as a Chelsea fan, to see someone, your own academy product absolutely smashing it, especially after the United game when people were like, oh, right, Tammy's not good enough for the league.
Oh, remember the FD WhatsApp? Do you remember that?
God,
day?
I remember
George,
getting
Joe.
yeah.
He had a great strike hit the post. To be fair, he had that
Exactly.
great strike hit the post, and I was like, oh, that might be his season. That might be the moment that defines him.
But that's
come
also,
back
and
from
then
it very
but then he
well.
also had the whole like social media abuse, racist abuse that he had, and like the comeback from that, and to also like play like really well as a good striker, as an attacking high pressing, like some of his goals have been created just because of his own hard work and pressing the defence and causing mistake. I mean, it's also helped as well that we've also got Mason Mount that's performing really, really well. But Tammy Abraham,
he's 4 and 8 himself.
and he's taking he's a very, 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 very good in the box finisher. I mean, I think before we played Norwich, every single one of his goals have been from inside the box, and he scored one from outside the box. I think did he score one from outside the box against Lille?
No, that was inside, I think.
Yeah, but
either way.
But he's a proper poacher, and I'm not going to say anything because he's also a very tall guy. I think he's like 6'5", so he's quite imposing as well. So I think defenders are definitely frightened when they play against him. And he's only 21 now?
22.
22.
Yeah, still so young.
So give him a couple of years. If he can, if he put on a bit of muscle as well, that would definitely help. And maybe we'll see.
It's
another
also not
Lewandowski.
just, they're not just judging him off this phenomenal start. I don't think he is just like a flash in the pan or just someone going. He scored 26 in the Championship last year. He scored 21 for Bristol City the year before that in the Championship. Like he's been doing it
Even
in
at
England, in tough leagues in England for a
Even
while.
at Swansea, he was still pretty good.
Yeah.
But was like
Playing
was presumed bad because of Swansea was so bad.
Yeah, they weren't a good side. McCubs, we've got to talk about another young English striker who's going through a tougher time at the moment in Rashford. And people forget, he's actually younger than Tammy Abraham. He's 21.
21.
And people are beating him with this Trashford stick, and it's really starting to annoy me.
Oh yes, I don't really fall too far on one side or the other with Rashford. I think personally, I think he is quite like it kind of, as opposed to Tammy Abraham, he's really just seems very, very consistent. Like he's never struck me as someone who can lead the line decisively in every game. And I think it's a shame because he originally did start so well as a 9 when he first came through. But I do think he is just more effective as a winger. I think from what we've seen so far this season, I think losing Martial up top has essentially kind of stopped Solskjaer in his tracks because we looked pretty good. Yeah, I looked pretty good with him up top.
When's he back? Is he back after the international break?
Could be back after the international break. Yeah, it's been quite a long layoff. Yeah. But I just don't think you can really put Rashford in that bracket. I think his underlying numbers have kind of slowly improved over the last 2 years, but I still don't think that's translated to kind of
regular
top class centre forward performances week in, week out. And he's still young, but I think that he's at an age now where he kind of has to know which position he wants to play. I mean,
that's fair enough.
obviously, like as a player who's hungry for goals and whatnot, he obviously wants to play up top. But I think there has to be a point where he plays one or the other, at least for like a prolonged amount of time, and he has to kind of stick to that. But I guess United's predicament at the moment means that he's going to have to fill in centrally as well. But I just wouldn't put him in that. I just wouldn't put him in that kind of bracket of like 5 to 10 like top young strikers. Like you've got the likes kind of Mbappe and Gabby Jesus, and even Abraham I think still needs another 6 months to be talked about in that bracket as well. But is just showing better signs at the moment.
Yeah, we haven't even mentioned Timo Werner as well. He's 20 goals, 21 goals, 19 goals last year. Started really well for RB Leipzig, although their form slightly dropped off in the last couple of
I really hope he doesn't go to Liverpool. I really hope. Like, the fact he's got a 30 mil buyout clause.
To be fair, not in this out-and-out goal scorer bracket, we're talking about it. But Bobby Firmino, for the job he does for Liverpool, should be in this conversation for best. What is he? He's sort of like a 10 dropped off
almost
striker.
Like a false nine.
I don't think there's many other strikers in world football that could be as effective for Liverpool. And effectively, they are the best side in the world right now.
Yeah.
So massive credit to him.
Well, I guess for sure. He's not a striker though, is he? Like he wasn't raised as a striker. He's a midfielder. It's a Hoffenheim he played.
And played left wing as well.
Left wing, and I guess now because of the front three they've got, like he has been able. I think Mike is right. He's more of like a false nine / like even kind of plays a bit deeper than a false nine.
He's such a great enabler for those two, isn't he? Especially for Salah. Like they just their relationship on the field is just ridiculous.
You saw it when Origi. Do you remember when Origi was playing and then he got injured after like 10 minutes and got hauled off, and like Liverpool were bad during that, and then Firmino comes on and they absolutely slap him.
Oh, the game against Newcastle. Yeah, that was phenomenal. Came on just before half time, I think it was. But you might have noticed as well, guys, we haven't mentioned Cristiano Ronaldo. We did a whole Continental Club on him 2 weeks ago. Obviously, he's in the reckoning for best, forwards in the world. We're not ruling him out just yet. We just wanted to talk about some other people potentially because it's a bit boring to talk about Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo all the time. But guys, I want a quick ranking. Your top 3.
Okay.
Number 9.
With Ronaldo in that, innit?
You can put Ronaldo in there. You can put Mbappe. You can put some of the young guys. Anyone we've mentioned. I will go first to give you some thinking time. Lewandowski, Aguero, and Mbappe.
I just don't think Mbappe's playing enough.
But he's not playing as number 9. That's a slight cheat, isn't it?
But I think so. His goal scoring record is that good. But
I'm going to stick with it.
So is Salah's, to be fair. Like.
I will go Lewandowski.
Let's go out 9, so no Mbappe.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, Lewandowski. I'll go Lewandowski, Ronaldo, because I do actually still think Ronaldo is very, very good.
Yeah.
And Aubameyang, because I do actually think Aubameyang, if he was playing in a better team, would be more highly rated.
Than Aguero. I like it. Hot take.
Yeah, I've got to go Lewandowski top.
Of course.
Second. Right now, I'd say number 2 Aguero, and I'd say number 3.
Paco.
Yeah, I mean, his goal scoring record speaks for itself, doesn't it? Oh God, I've got a bit of a blank. Who are the other?
Suarez, Aguero,
Benzema,
Werner.
We haven't actually spoken about Benzema. He has actually been excellent in the last 12 months, especially.
This year.
But I'll say Aubameyang third as well. Yeah.
Fair. Well, there you have it. Let us know your ranking in the top 3 of the top 3 in the comments down below. Thanks very much for listening. Let's move on to quickfire questions. Right, we're not doing a big match preview this weekend, guys, because it's international break, but enjoy all the international football on over the weekend. But we thought we'd do an international themed question because Sean Zhao 26 has asked, who are your dark horses for the Euros? Let's start with Cubs.
Ooh, tough one, because there are a few teams who would have been considered dark horses before who maybe aren't so much anymore. Obviously, like Belgium, the perennial dark horses who are actually just like up there with the
sick
every
side
time.
now,
Yeah, they did, didn't they? It's ridiculous. And obviously they made the semis at the World Cup as well. So like that, they've now kind of done kind of what people were expecting them to do. It's a tough one. Yeah, there's a lot of really I think that the state of international football now is pretty good actually. I think the Nations League did it a lot of help as well.
Yeah.
I would say I'd normally go for Italy because they've kind of they've not performed so well at tournaments in recent years, and they've always got a shout, and they've got ridiculous amount of midfield talent coming through. But I think Sweden could be a bit of a shout. I could see them maybe getting to a semi-final.
Okay.
Just because I thought they were pretty impressive at the World Cup last year. Obviously, Jan Andersson, very solid head coach, has been with them since 2016, and actually, weirdly, kind of after Zlatan retired from international football, they seemed to become a more solid
unified
unit.
Yeah.
And I guess that just goes to show the kind of the good and bad side of Zlatan.
As well. Forsberg, Alexander Isak as well.
Yeah, Alexander Isak, who's been actually banging since he's come through. I think I don't know his exact scoring record, but I think he's got something like 5 or 6 goals for them in maybe like less than 10 appearances. So he's been really a really positive addition to that team, and I think also what kind of got them far at the World Cup as well was the fact that they had one of the most solid defences at the tournament, and that counts for a lot. Like you can get through a whole, as we saw with Portugal at the last Euros, you can get through a whole tournament just on the back of a solid defence. You don't even need to be particularly good going forward if you can ride your luck at times.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say Sweden. I think they could get to a semi.
Zachary, who are you thinking?
So I want to back England, but I
Yeah.
actually think about it, don't think they can be considered dark horses really. They also got to a semi-final.
True.
They were pretty good.
Semi-finals of the Nation League as well.
Exactly. So I do think England are going to win it. I'm jumping on the hype already. You've heard it
Good
first.
man.
Just like I did with the World
Believe.
Cup. And then give me a little while and I'll start crying. But I'm going to
I'll
go
get the tissues
with
ready.
I'm going to go with the Netherlands.
Nice.
Actually,
Solid.
they've gone from a team which couldn't make the World Cup, looked embarrassing, to a team that are actually frightening to play against. I mean, the game against England in the Nations League was ridiculous.
Games against Germany as well.
Games against Germany, and I think they had a little rough patch last night against Northern Ireland.
They did.
But Northern Ireland are okay, I guess.
Got the win in
But
the
they've
end.
got their defence is ridiculous. They're back the two centre backs, Van Dijk and De Ligt,
Yeah.
and then they've also got Ake as well if they need him. Who can also play left back if needed as well. And then they've got Depay up front, Wijnaldum.
De Jong.
A lot of players
Yeah.
who are like
Stupid,
really
really.
hitting like peak form at the moment
Yeah.
as well. Aren't they? Like,
Exactly. I mean, they've got a very. Is Cillessen their goalkeeper?
Yeah.
So maybe there are little areas to improve, I guess. But Cillessen's still a pretty decent goalkeeper. But yeah, I think they're going to be a team they're a team obviously that have an amazing history, right? And you can never discount them, I guess. But over the past couple of years, considering how poor they did, and it was actually very poor for their standards, they're on the rise. So good luck to them.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mother Russia. I think I've been really impressed with them in qualifying. They're in the same group as Scotland. I think they're only 3 points behind Belgium. Belgium have gone unbeaten. Russia have pretty much gone unbeaten. Absolutely battered Scotland last night, 4-0. 4 goals in 27 minutes. And some of their players who are quite, it's a bit harsh, a bit average at club level, I'd say, really come alive in the Russian
Call
shirt
them
at the
out.
moment.
Call them out.
Well, Golovin's been
Yeah.
pretty useless for Monaco since he
Yeah.
joined. But in a
Even
Russian
in the-
shirt, incredible.
During the World
Zuba
Cup, he was
as well
ridiculous.
turns into peak Zlatan. Yeah, I don't know. They just run for days. They've got boundless energy. No one really knows why, and it will be difficult to beat them in a Euros. Although I would say that some of that World Cup progress was down to home crowds. They got through. They beat Spain on penalties. They didn't.
They played Saudi Arabia. Didn't they?
They had quite an easy pool. I seem to remember as well. Rode a lot of.
They beat Spain.
They beat Spain. So
I do seem to remember people kind of tipping them to go out of the groups as well. So they definitely overachieved in that sense. And I imagine, I don't know, they've probably solidified as a team as a result.
yeah, definitely. Who are your? So we've done dark horses, but who do you actually think is going to win? So is that you think England's going to win?
England, 100%. Just no Harry Kane up front. It's going to be Rashford. It's going to be Tammy Abraham, Sancho, and Sterling. What a front three.
That's going to be a
Harry
ridiculous
Kane.
front three.
You just
That'll be
wait.
ridiculous.
You
It
just
will
wait.
be. England will be
Harry
really.
Kane
Harry Kane
will
will
get injured again. He'll get injured
or
again.
have converted to a central midfielder by that point. a la Rooney 2016.
That would be good, you know. Get Harry Kane, get Henderson out the team. Harry Kane,
like
get
Kane
Declan
CDM.
Rice. Perfect.
Bloody hell.
Yes,
Could you
please.
imagine? Could you imagine?
England will be entertaining. either way. I
England
don't
will
think
be
they'll win.
entertaining. It'll be interesting to see what I don't think we'll be playing 3-bet load in the World Cup though.
No.
And then you've got Trent. Trent will be even better than
Chilwell.
Chilwell, the back line of Tomori.
Maybe Maguire.
Maguire.
I think it's an exciting time to be an
Declan.
England fan.
Yeah.
McCubs, who do you actually think is going to win?
I mean, I think England are up there. England are definitely I'd say top 4, 5 favourites.
We were saying this
But-
now, and you watch
Yeah.
France.
out in the groups.
Yeah, can you imagine? Oh god, especially with the two semis and the final at Wembley as well. It'd be just heartbreaking. But France
Yeah,
are
of
going
course.
through like a proper golden era. Like it just doesn't seem to be stopping. It's like Spain 10 years ago. They've obviously they're obviously going to be the favourites, aren't they?
Yeah.
And also, you know, the return of the Germans with Leroy Sané this time
True.
and Serge Gnabry, who's he's got like 9 goals and like 8 appearances for them or whatever. I
Ridiculous.
think he scored last night as well. So that's probably more than 9 now. So they've
Spain,
got
you
to
might-
be
I
in
was
with
gonna
the
say,
shout.
You might consider Spain as a dark horse, actually. Maybe.
I don't think they'll ever be a dark horse of the amount
Yeah,
of
that
talent
that
they've
is
got,
quite true. But yeah,
they're a bit-
the
they're a
under
bit more of a-
21s were well
They're very
impressive.
good.
But if they can progress into the
I'd
first
put them
team-
alongside France as my favourites, maybe England
Really?
and Germany and Portugal, maybe Italy in the bracket
So you-
below.
I don't know if I'd put Spain that high.
I think Spain will be, they're
Very
they're
high.
due a good tournament. after a couple of disappointing results. But yeah, let us know who you guys think are your dark horses and favourites for the tournament. And let's just wrap up there, because we've been rambling for ages and ages. But thank you very much for watching. Let us know what you guys thought about our opinions in the comments down below. Zach, what should the good people go and do now?
Why not head over to Squad Goals, if you like. My voice just went very high. Where we are very, very funny, because we're all very funny people. You can watch us play FIFA. We had a bit of a slip up this week, so there's no FIFA this week. But we got a GTA episode out, so you can watch that as well. And yeah, you can say hi in the comments if you like.
Nice. Anything from you, McCubs?
No, I've been very unproductive recently. Yeah, go Squad Goals, Football Daily, Sunday Vibes.
Vibe, if you want as well. Check out VYB.
Check out VYB.
You like KSI?
Sam got punched by KSI. Epic. Right, thanks very much for watching, guys. See you next time.